Fallout 4 is filled with Easter eggs you have never seen before, from The Simpsons becoming canon in Fallout to The Walking Dead references hidden everywhere. Today I'll be going over every single Fallout 4 Easter egg, starting with a secret one. Dark Souls bonfire. There's a literal Dark Souls bonfire hidden in the Nuka World DLC. In a destroyed house in Bradburton, you'll find a Chinese officer sword stuck in a pile of ash that you can actually kindle into flames. When you light this sucker up, 3 stim packs magically rain from the sky, pull out the sword, and boom. 3 more stim packs appear because apparently the Commonwealth runs on Dark Souls logic now. The whole setup is positioned exactly like a bonfire shrine. This is Bethesda's love letter to one of gaming's most punishing franchises, proving that even in post-apocalyptic Boston, you can still get good. The fact that it actually functions as a healing station makes it both a visual gag and a practical gameplay element. But if you thought that was crazy, just remember they get crazier from here. Alien movie references. Bethesda went deep with their Alien franchise worship, hiding multiple references throughout the game. The most subtle one is a junk item called the flux sensor that looks completely ordinary until you flip it over. The registration number on the back reads CM88B 180,924,609, which is the exact type and registration of the USCSS Nostromo from the first Alien film. Codsworth can also say the names Ripley, Dallas, Wayland, and Yutani if you're brave enough to name your character after the franchise. Plus, there's the classic random UFO encounter where an alien ship crashes near level 20, giving you an alien blaster that's basically a handheld death ray. These references span the entire franchise timeline, showing that even 200 years after nuclear war, Hollywood's greatest space horror still haunts the collective unconscious. Though the next one is much crazier. Skyrim Easter eggs. Bethesda couldn't help but reference their fantasy masterpiece multiple times throughout Fallout 4. The most obvious one is the Taboo Tattoos magazine cover featuring a skull wearing the iconic Dragonborn's horned helmet. Raiders will occasionally yell "bullet in the knee" when you cripple their legs, which is clearly a radioactive twist on Skyrim's infamous arrow to the knee guard dialogue. These callbacks create a weird shared universe theory where Tamriel might be Earth's far future after the bombs fell. Either that or Bethesda just loves putting their greatest hits in every game they make. Blade Runner homage. Diamond City's Japanese noodlebot isn't just random flavor text. It's a direct homage to Ridley Scott's cyberpunk masterpiece. The setup mirrors the noodle bar scene where Harrison Ford's character gets served by a Japanese-speaking vendor. The bot only speaks Japanese while serving noodles in the heart of post-apocalyptic Boston, recreating that iconic Blade Runner atmosphere in the most unexpected place. It's positioned prominently in Diamond City's marketplace, where you can't miss it. The Noodlebot proves that even after nuclear war, good ramen finds a way. But let's go deeper and find even more hidden ones. The next one will leave you shocked. Edgar Allan Poe references. Nick Valentine channels his inner literary critic when the Prydwen first arrives, quoting, "Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, from the raven." But the Poe references don't stop at dramatic poetry readings. Down in the castle's tunnels, you'll find General McGann's corpse next to wine crates containing Amontillado bottles with Montresor written on them. Opposite him sits a skeleton behind a half-built brick wall, perfectly recreating the murder scene from Cask of Amontillado. These references show that even robot detectives appreciate classic American literature. Plus, they prove that Poe's gothic horror translates perfectly to post-nuclear nightmares. That's nothing compared to what's next. The Simpsons callbacks. Homer Simpson's childhood TV brand Radiation King appears throughout the Commonwealth because apparently Matt Groening predicted the nuclear apocalypse. Codsworth can also recognize the name Bort in reference to that legendary Simpsons gift shop episode. Far Harbor Bowling League standings include the Holy Rollers team, which is Ned Flanders' bowling team from the show. The Radiation King TVs are everywhere once you start looking. It's the kind of deep-cut reference that rewards longtime fans while flying completely over casual players' heads. And you just love it when animated shows predict the future. If you are enjoying this breakdown, subscribe for more. Cheers Bar Recreation. The Prost Bar, on the edge of Boston Common, is a nearly perfect recreation of the Cheers Bar interior, complete with 2 skeletons representing Cliff and Norm. The bar layout matches the TV show almost exactly. The name Prost is German for cheers because apparently even post-apocalyptic Boston appreciates multilingual wordplay. You can sit at the bar and imagine what it was like when everybody knew your name. The location on Boston Common makes perfect sense since Cheers was actually filmed in Boston and became synonymous with the city's identity. This recreation proves that some places are so culturally significant they transcend nuclear warfare. Sometimes you really do want to go where everybody knows your bones. Star Trek Voyager quote, "Night Captain Cade aboard the Prydwen will sometimes greet you with, 'Please state the name nature of your medical emergency, which is the exact activation phrase of Voyager's emergency medical hologram. The fact that this comes from the Brotherhood's chief medical officer makes it even more perfect. Cade is voiced by Dwight Schultz, so this isn't just a random reference, but an actor callback too. The Brotherhood's advanced technology makes this reference feel natural rather than forced. This proves that even militant technologists appreciate good science fiction. Plus, it suggests that Star Trek's medical technology might actually be achievable in the Fallout universe. The next would leave you jaw-dropped. Holotape arcade games. The Pip-Boys Holotape games are basically retro gaming Easter eggs disguised as post-war entertainment. Red Menace is obviously Donkey Kong, Atomic Command copies Missile Command, and Pitfall recreates Pitfall's jungle platform. These aren't just visual homages, but fully playable games with proper mechanics and scoring systems. The games appear throughout the wasteland on various terminals, making them both collectibles and functional entertainment. These games show how retro gaming culture survived the nuclear apocalypse and became the foundation for future entertainment. Monty Python references. Multiple companions drop Holy Grail references during their travels with lines about bringing out dead bodies and other classic Python bits. Kate, Codsworth, and Deacon all have specific dialogue callbacks to the film's most quotable moments. These references usually trigger during combat or exploration. The delivery matches the original film's comedic timing, proving that British humor translates well to post-nuclear scenarios. Some lines reference the Bridge of Death scene, while others call back to the Black Knight's flesh wounds or the French taunting sequences. This shows that Monty Python's influence extends far beyond comedy into gaming culture. Apparently, even the apocalypse can't kill a good punchline about dead parrots and holy hand grenades. The Shining Hotel horror. Inside Parsons State Insane Asylum, there's a red tricycle positioned in the center of a corridor that perfectly recreates Danny Torrance's ride through the Overlook Hotel. The placement and atmosphere nail Kubrick's unsettling cinematography. The asylum's long corridors and deteriorating infrastructure already feel like the Overlook after 200 years of neglect and radiation. The tricycle sits there like a monument to childhood innocence lost, which fits perfectly with Fallout's theme of pre-war nostalgia corrupted by nuclear horror. You can almost hear the creepy twins asking you to play with them forever and ever. This callback proves that some horror imagery is so iconic it transcends medium and setting. All work and no play makes the sole survivor a dull vault dweller. Titanic romance tragedy. In the waters around Far Harbor, two skeletons recreate Jack and Rose's final moments from James Cameron's epic disaster film. Positioning and romantic tragedy translate perfectly to the post-apocalyptic setting. Far Harbor's nautical theme makes this reference feel thematically appropriate rather than random pop culture insertion. The underwater discovery adds an element of deep-sea exploration that mirrors the real Titanic's discovery. You can almost hear Celine Dion's "My Heart Will Go On" echoing across the irradiated waters. This proves that even the world's most famous romantic tragedy resonates in post-nuclear scenarios. Love may not conquer all, but it sure makes for memorable skeleton arrangements. But here's where it gets interesting. Carhenge Monument. Some creative wastelanders built their own Stonehenge using rusted car husks, creating a monument that references both the ancient British landmark and Nebraska's real-life Carhenge attraction. The cars are positioned with surprising precision, suggesting this wasn't just random junk disposal, but intentional artistic expression. Super mutants apparently have more culture than most people give them credit for, turning automotive scrap into archaeological wonder. UFO crash event. At level 20 or higher, you might witness a UFO flying overhead near Old Gullet Sinkhole before it crashes somewhere nearby. This random encounter gives you access to an actual alien and the legendary alien blaster weapon. The crash site contains a damaged spacecraft and a hostile alien who attacks on sight. The alien blaster is incredibly powerful and uses unique ammunition, making it both a collectible and a practical weapon for tough encounters. This encounter proves that even in Fallout's science fiction setting, aliens are still the ultimate wild card. Sometimes the best Easter eggs are the ones that find you rather than the other way around. Pikman Gallery horror. The Pikman Gallery and its psychotic artist owner reference H.P. Lovecraft's short story about a painter whose grotesque artwork reveals disturbing truths. The gallery showcases mutilated raiders as art pieces throughout the building. Pikman himself appears surrounded by raiders, creating a scene where you must decide whether to rescue this questionable artist or let him face the consequences of his murderous creativity. The whole location feels like cosmic horror translated into post-nuclear reality, where madness and art intersect in the most disturbing ways possible. This reference shows how Lovecraftian themes of madness and forbidden knowledge translate perfectly to Fallout's moral ambiguity. Sometimes the real monsters are the artists we meet along the way, and that's before things really escalate. The Truman Show reality. Vault 118 contains an artificial beach environment with a backdrop that perfectly recreates the finale of The Truman Show, complete with a strategically placed sailboat. Fake paradise vibe fits perfect with Vault-Tech's twisted experiments. The sailboat positioning and artificial sky create that same sense of manufactured reality breaking down. Vault 118 already functions as a social experiment, making this reference feel thematically appropriate rather than random movie homage. This callback proves that themes about artificial reality and social control remain relevant across different fictional universes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Commonwealth. The Wizard of Oz Journey. Oswald the Outrageous in Nuka World drops multiple Wizard of Oz references, calling robot companions Tin Man and asking if they're looking for the wizard. His dialogue perfectly captures the magical showman persona while referencing classic American cinema. The Nuka World setting enhances these references, since amusement parks naturally evoke the same sense of magical wonder that defines the land of Oz. Oswald's character as a pre-war entertainer turned post-war survivor mirrors the wizard's transformation from mysterious figure to revealed charlatan. The whole Kitty Kingdom area feels like a twisted version of Oz, where childhood dreams became radioactive nightmares. These references prove that classic American fairy tales maintain their power even in post-apocalyptic settings. There's no place like the Commonwealth, even when it's completely irradiated. The Walking Dead scenarios. Throughout the Commonwealth, you'll find skeletons arranged in scenes that mirror iconic moments from the Walking Dead television series. These posed corpses tell stories of humanity's final moments during the nuclear apocalypse. The skeleton arrangements show families huddled together, last stands against overwhelming odds, and tragic final moments that echo the zombie show's emotional gut punches. These aren't just random corpse placement, but carefully crafted environmental storytelling that makes you piece together what happened in each location. Some scenes include children's toys. These arrangements prove that environmental storytelling can be just as powerful as dialogue or cutscenes. Sometimes the most effective horror comes from what you discover. Where's Waldo Hunt? Hidden throughout various locations are subtle references to the classic puzzle books, where readers search for the distinctive red and white striped characters. These references appear in crowd scenes and busy environments just like the original books. The references include red and white striped objects placed strategically throughout detailed environments that mirror Waldo's hiding techniques from the original illustrations. These Easter eggs reward players who take time to really examine their surroundings rather than rushing through areas. Finding Waldo in a post-nuclear wasteland proves that some searches never really end. They just get more radioactive. The last one is all you're expecting: Codsworth's name database. Codsworth can recognize and pronounce nearly 1,000 different names, including deep-cut references to movies, games, and pop culture figures that span decades of entertainment history. The name list includes everything from obvious choices like Bond and Snake, bizarre inclusions like that someone definitely snuck past the censors. Movie characters from Mad Max, Alien, Deus Ex, and Dishonored all get recognition. The voice acting commitment is impressive, since each name required separate recording sessions and integration into dialogue systems. Some names trigger special reactions or additional dialogue that makes choosing certain character names feel like unlocking hidden content. If you enjoyed this video and want to see every Enclave project explained, click the video on the screen.